Oh, goodness. Otherwise, I'll try on my phone. It must be something with my fiber internet.
Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
know. All right, everybody. We're live, I think. We're having a little bit of technical difficulties with the streaming with Facebook and volume. So we're going to give everybody a couple minutes. I mean, I like listening to myself, but the echo's kind of trippy.
That's good.
Maybe I need this for my students in my classroom. They'll never ask me if I said that again.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
Oh, funny. Okay, now where is everybody? Oh, here we go. Okay. Hello, hello. I am live with Samantha Laurie. We're talking about her new book. Oh, hi, Ramona. So, Ramona is on with us. She's one of our other admin. So, we're on with Samantha talking about her new book, Power of Mess, and some of her journals. So, just want to give everybody a minute. I want to make sure Jamie's on because will be like, wait for me. There we
Oh,
go. All right, Jamie's on. Yay. I was just telling Samantha, Jamie, about how much you like her journals and how you post in our group every day. So, hi,
oh.
everybody. So, I just want to thank you so much for coming on and having all these technical difficulties
No,
with me because
it's fine.
I know it's late there in the UK. So, the biggest thing that I think we want to know is tell us about the book and where you get your inspiration from because to post daily is incredible and we love them.
Oh, thank you. Okay, so sorry, so the first question was um
You want to tell us a little bit about the book?
sure.
Let's
Okay.
do that first.
Yeah, sure. So you're gonna have me really close up.
I know, I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. Just yeah. So the Power of Mess. It's my first traditionally published book. I've been self-publishing since I think 2015. Um, but yeah, I had a publisher approach me a couple of years ago, and I started writing this book maybe 3 years ago when I was facing my life just felt really chaotic, and I tend to deal with difficult times in my life by just writing. It's my lifeline, and I thought it would just be a really interesting adventure for myself creatively to open up this chaotic time that I was in and try and reach people who might be feeling similar, you know? So it was all about how to deal with your life as it is rather than what you want from life. Or what you're running away from, just meeting life and embracing the moment. And and then life got really too messy for me to continue work on it. I had my youngest daughter, she had medical issues, and I had to just really like spend every moment with her for the next 6 months. But I watched myself process the chaos and the uncertainty and the fear and the anxiety of watching my littlest go through this anomaly, medical anomaly that the doctors really couldn't ascertain what to do about for a good few weeks. And I found the process to be so interesting in retrospect. And so I began writing again because what I realized was when you embrace the difficult moment and you walk with it and you walk through it, you get to the other side and you are a brighter, clearer, more impassioned and softened version of yourself. And I just thought this is magic, you know, and I want to share this and I want to explore it some more. So, you know, when I write for myself and I write for my readership, but it's always two-way. And then yeah, I had a publisher approach me with they were really interested in the idea, and it took me about, I don't know, took me maybe 6 months to complete the work. It was a grueling process because it was the first time of working with somebody else outside of my head. And it was something that I was craving for, but it was really hard going because I had to answer to somebody else. I had to answer to a structure and a schedule outside of my own. But it was a real growing experience for me. And so, what you have now in The Power of Mess is hopefully a loose manual and a companion to walk you through the difficult moments that come up and to approach them in a way that you feel empowered to step forward and to go through and to pat yourself on the back at the end as well. So it's a real kind of, I suppose, it's a celebration of the human spirit and of how we can turn the most difficult moments into something of a beautiful destiny for us. And also it's a call to dig deep into that spirit inside of you, because there's something for you in every difficult and dark time.
I love that. And I started the book and I was like, okay, so I'm going to pick and choose my chapters.
Okay.
And then I was like, no, 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 no. I had to go back to the beginning because I love the flow of it. And then at the end of
Oh,
each chapter is a write about it.
yes.
And I love that about it. One of the
Right.
things I really loved was the exhale,
Right.
because we all feel this anxiety sometimes when we're in the mess of things.
Yes.
And that exhale is this huge cleansing and we forget about it.
Yes.
And then all of a sudden we're like, oh, wait a minute, it's going to be okay.
Yes.
And I like reading that in the book. And then you also have quotes and some suggestions throughout each chapter that I really loved as well.
Right.
So I told Jamie I would send her my copy when I was done if I didn't write in it
Oh.
too much. And I can't now. I have folded it. I have dog-eared it. I have.
That's amazing.
So I really found it powerful. And I love the chapter on grief. And we
Mm,
talked about that a little bit because I think at some point we all experience some sort of loss, either loss
absolutely.
of friends, loss of loved ones, not just with death, but people walking away. And so I
Mm.
liked your outlook on that. So was that difficult to write? Um,
That's definitely in the top three favorite chapters for me. Um, so because there was this gap of me writing the book, when I went back to it with this publishing deal, there was this pressure now to kind of finish and complete, whereas normally the way I write is really quite instinctive, it's very intuitive, and I just let the process take me. Whereas I had to show up with a different kind of responsibility. So when I begun writing again, I just went through this incredible writer's block because I'd started the book maybe 3 years
mm,
before, and the inspiration behind most of my writing is all very personal. It's about my everyday observations and my experiences. So you can imagine in 3 years how much we change, right? So then to go back to this project and to be true to it, to be authentic in it, it was a quandary for me. So yeah, I went through this maybe, I don't know, it was about maybe 4 to 6 weeks of writer's block, literally just staring at
mm,
my laptop and not knowing how to bring the me of now into what I'd started 3 years
right.
before. And it opened for me when I thought about writing about what's most important. It's kind of like where I have learned the most of life, going into those
Mm,
spaces. And it's been in my grief. It's been in meeting with my loss. And, the book could be called The Power of Life. I kind of think mess and life are synonymous,
mhm,
and I think mess and loss are also synonymous as well. I think
right.
as much as we love in this world, we also lose as well. And that's
Mhm,
part of
yeah.
the experience, the adventure of love, is that there's always that possibility of loss, on either side of the experience. So when I, in my own kind of personal experience of walking through the landscape of grief, that's when I felt my work went through the biggest transformation. That's when my words changed and my perspective kind of like pivoted. So I wrote this chapter being true to myself and my experiences. And it was a chapter that I hadn't mentioned to the publisher in getting the contract. It was this kind of new thing. So I basically sent her the chapter and I said, I need this to go into the book. And she was like, but this isn't part of what we have discussed. And I was like, I know, but if this doesn't go into the book isn't, it's not going to work. And she was lovely about it. And she was like, if you want it in the book, we're going to put it in the book. And then my editor also wasn't sure about the chapter and then kind of gave in when we spoke about it. And it was the chapter I had to fight, to fight for the most and to really kind of have that discussion with them. But it was the most liberating of the chapters for me. And once I got that out and I felt like I was being true to what was deepest inside of me, I could write for, for days on end. And yeah, so I'm really glad that it speaks to you. And actually it's that chapter, and I can't remember what chapter it is, but there's another chapter about my husband dealing with his epilepsy.
Oh,
Those are the two
I have.
chapters that always get brought up at the moment, when I get like emails and yeah. Yeah.
It's this one, page 84.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, so it was cathartic. It was really and very meaningful.
Well, I love that chapter that you just mentioned because it's about reconceptualization
Right.
and looking at things in a different way. And even with my students, I tell them to look at every side of something. And sometimes when we're in the mess of a situation, by looking at it a little bit different,
Right.
then we move through it differently and we grow from it. And so it can revolutionize your thinking. So I loved that quote on that page. That's the power of our perceptions chapter.
Thank you. Yeah, that's the one. It's I think reconceptualization is maybe one of the biggest lessons that I've learned over the years that has never let me down. Never let me down. Like once I get the raw feeling out and I express that, because I think that's really important. I talk about getting really brutally honest and just letting yourself be. Once I do that, and then I sit and I think about how I can approach the situation, and I change my angle and I change my view, and maybe I take a step back, or maybe sometimes I go closer in, it always shifts my vision, and I think there's one of my favorite quotes. I can't remember. I've actually got a poster of the quote, but it talks about how we don't have to travel out. We just have to have new eyes, and when we have new eyes, we can see the world anew. And that's just that always has stayed with me. And when I come up against a brick wall, I don't move until I see the brick wall differently. I don't move. I wait for my perception to change. And I think what I love about the book is that I try to focus on tools to help us move through the sludge and the chaos and the noise that are really easy to apply. We can do it right now. So we can learn to breathe through our problems now. Our breath is our own. We have this here every moment of the day. And if we can learn how to utilize it and get the principle of breathing to help us through, it just means that we don't have to look so far out for the solutions, which is sometimes where we get lost. We look so far out for the help, when actually there is things right under our nose. And I think perception is one of those things that we can always change, and it's such an empowering facet of being human.
Yeah, I agree. So I know that some of our members love your journals and want to know about the journals. What is the difference with the journals? How did you get inspiration for each one? How do you use them? Was the biggest questions.
How do I use it? Yeah. I love Jamie. Jamie, I'm giving you a big cuddle right now. Right. So I have actually 4 journals, but 3 of them are they're printable at the moment. One is just out of stock. It was my first one. I haven't printed that since 2015. My journals, I think what they do, well, they reflect where I've been in, a certain time in my life. And what I've done is from then I have developed and carved out the theme of that season in my life. So my How the Light Gets Out journal, which I love the title of, because we always
Mm-hmm.
think about how the light gets in, but my
Mm-hmm.
premise in that
Right.
is that it's in those tough moments when we feel like we are nothing and we are unable, but our hearts are open and we're willing, that's when our light gets out, and shines the way forwards. And I just loved kind of like turning that on its head a little bit, because we love the idea
Right.
of being saved, I suppose, and having the light coming into us. But what if there's enough in here already? And when life shatters and cracks, it really cracks so that what's inside can get out. And do its magic. So that was in a particularly like difficult time, a dark period of my life, where I was learning about what it means to be of light in this world. And sometimes it isn't just about being bright, sometimes it's about just being alive and being willing and being in touch with our humanity, and all the kind of wobbles and the feelings, and how much life there is in just being true and being honest and being real with who we are. And then we have the New Beginnings, and I wrote that one. I created that one after I had my rainbow baby after 2 miscarriages. So New Beginnings was about new chapters. I wrote it and released it in spring, because I think that's really when the new year happens for me. I'm not really a January person. I can't really
Yeah.
get with the new year. Even though it's my
Yeah.
birthday on the 31st of December and my new
Oh.
year actually does start then, but I just, for me, I kind of I respond naturally to the world around me and the environment. And so when spring happens, that's when I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, come on, now we're here, now
Yeah.
the beginning begins. So that's that one. And then my newest one is a real, like, it's a kind of gift, I kind of created it because I've just, in my own life, I've always, especially when I was young, I was always on the lookout for a source of unconditional love, just somebody or something that would have my back, that was
Mm-hmm.
just full of goodness and blessings and good wishes and just good juju.
Mm-hmm.
And so I just thought I would love for everybody to have that, to have that person. But if you don't have that person, what can I do? Well, I can create a book, full of lovely wishes, lovely thoughts, lovely dreams, lovely intentions for whoever it is that has the journal in their hand, and just kind of like putting that love out on the page and allowing it just to kind of conjure up whatever is inside of the person. I mean, that's kind of like the
Yeah.
magic right there. So, so the 3 of them are quite different, but they're really there just to encourage the reader and the journaler to reflect, to contemplate, just to spill. Because I'm just such a great believer in what is inside of us, and allowing that just to come up, whatever it looks like, whatever. It doesn't have to even make sense straight away. I've done so many journaling courses over the years, and I always tell my journalers, like, there is an art form to this. But what's always so important is that you just don't edit yourself. You just
Right.
trust the process. So my journals are really, hopefully, to encourage the reader and the writer in each person to dare to let themselves breathe and be. And then it's almost like looking at themselves in the mirror and being able to say, this is me, and I will dare to love you even more. So it's all about repairing our relationship with ourselves and setting our hearts free and really just putting an end to this idea of constantly keeping ourselves in some kind of edited form, kind of a form that pleases the outsider, but
Yeah.
kind of keeps us feeling like we're stuck in this prison. So I make these journals to liberate, I suppose, and just to get the magic inside out. And I really, I always, in all my courses, I always say, you are your best teacher. I just facilitate. I facilitate the
Yeah.
framework to bring out what is already inside of you, but it's there, and it's for you to just learn how to trust. And I'm there with you as you do. So my journals are they're maybe like a bit of a hug in a book. But so many of my women who buy my work, they don't write on it. I'm like, write on it.
Yeah.
It's
Well,
there
they're
to write
gorgeous.
on. Yeah, but the pictures and the words, so
Yeah.
a lot of them just buy it and just read through it. So it really depends on how
Right.
you want to kind of approach it. It's completely up to you. It's
Right.
left in your hands because you're completely able.
Yeah, I think a lot of us don't want to write in the beautiful books.
Yeah,
And I'm an annotator and a dog
right.
ear page, like I think we need to be okay with that,
Yeah, for sure. I
and
think
to
it's so
feel it.
beautiful. Yeah, and like,
Yeah.
and the thing is like, when you look back, or if your children look back on the things that you wrote
Mhm.
when you were younger, I mean, they'll love
Yeah.
it because that's your life there. That's your blood
Yeah.
in the pen, that's you saying, I was here. So I always encourage
Yeah.
everybody just to scribble around it, in my diaries as well. There's a lot of my writing in my diaries, but I always say just scribble around it and, cross things out. And, it's all there
Right.
just to get you enlivened, just to kind of wake up what's
Yeah.
inside of you. So, yeah.
I love that. So, Jamie has a question. What age were
Okay.
you when you realized you wanted to make the journals?
That's such a good question, Jamie. Well, I mean, honestly, it was when I basically started making books for my friends when I was
Mm.
16. So the first book I made was for my boyfriend, now husband. It was for his birthday present, and I loved
Mm.
collating quotes with postcards and images. So I would do that. I would make books, and I would kind of like personalize them to
I
the
love
important people
that.
in my life, and I would fill them with quotes from all over the world and different cards and postcards and stuff.
I
So
love
I was
that.
making books kind of, then. And I remember actually going to see my mum in America when I was about 14. And we went into this bookshop and I saw this really beautiful calendar. It was a Christian bookshop and it was this beautiful calendar, beautiful artwork. And I was just so struck by the artwork that I kind of set it in my mind that I wanted to do that one day as well. I wanted to kind of create something that people could scribble on but would be on their wall as well, and just make that
Yeah.
kind of subtle connect, so rather than just have art that you look at, art that you
Right.
can kind of put a piece of you on as well.
I love
So
that.
yeah, it was around then.
How fun. So I was digging through your Etsy shop and
Right.
you have cards and all sorts of inspirational things on there. Where do you come up with the daily things or, the things you decide you want in a card or those types of things?
Right. Okay, so in terms of the daily inspiration, a lot of it is I mean, okay, yeah, that's a good question. I'm just thinking. So it begun when I started off Butterflies and Pebbles. Butterflies and Pebbles are the nicknames of my two daughters then. I have three
Oh,
now. Yeah. So my daily inspiration was really my words, the things I wanted to say to my children. I just
oh,
imagine, if I'm not going to be around forever, what can I do that gives them a piece of me forever, something that they can come back to, where they can hear my
yeah.
voice, where they can feel my love. And so I basically would write to them every day. And that's why I would use, kind of words of endearment like darling and
Right.
sweet
Right.
soul and, lovely one, because it was me talking to my daughters. And then, through mothering them, I was kind of, I was almost forced to face myself and to reconnect with that girl inside of me. Seeing these
Mm,
two girls grow up, it kind of reminded me that I was that once too. And so from talking to my daughters, I also then started trying to talk to me and repair my relationship with that person inside of me that I'd rejected for so many years and been so cruel to. So again, the terms of endearment were then to me to purposefully and intentionally try and rebuild this bridge to her. And yeah, it just became like that. And then it just really took off. Butterflies and Pebbles really kind of grew really quite
yeah.
quickly because nobody was talking so intimately. Nobody was writing so intimately. There was lots of
Right.
quotes, lots of
Mm-hmm.
advice, lots of good counsel, but not the intimate, vulnerable speech that I was employing in my writing. And then in terms of, the greeting cards, I really went with, and also the prints, I went with what was most popular. The
Oh,
poems that really spoke, the poems that traveled,
right.
the poems that people would write to me about that really moved them, and the stories they would tell me, and how they had impacted them, or how it kind of like broken a shell inside of them so that they could kind of like get into memories and get into some kind of healing. And I just thought, well, why don't I just put this out there? And the reason I did that is because I saw somebody on Etsy actually sharing my quotes, and they were doing it in
Oh,
typewriter, just really like just plain
oh,
white paper and just typewriter, not even kind of like digitally, literally on the typewriter. And it was so lovely, and I was so like honored. But it just dawned on me, why didn't I do that for myself? Like, why didn't I just
right.
like, why didn't I share my own stuff? So
Right.
I got I got acquainted with Photoshop, and I started kind of playing with art, and then I just played with the words that seemed to travel, beyond the ocean
Yeah.
around me, to all
Right.
parts of the world,
Yeah.
and it just took off really.
Yeah. They're beautiful. So Jamie posted in our chat because there's quite a few people in there now. So this is your handle for Instagram. And you're also on Facebook also, correct?
Yeah. So I started off on Facebook, and I'm still there because I've got quite a sizable following there. I kind of wish I gave Instagram the same time when I was, way back when, because it's a lot harder now to do anything on these
I agree.
platforms. Yeah,
Yeah. And
these damn
Instagram
algorithms.
changes. I know, and
Yeah.
Instagram changes almost weekly, I think.
Yeah, it's crazy. I can't really work out Instagram. I just kind of hope for the best. When I post something, Facebook, I kind of get
Yep.
the science a little bit more,
Right.
um, and the algorithm there. But yeah. So I'm on
Yeah.
Facebook and I'm on Instagram, and I just have a small little community on Patreon where I do videos and I do
Oh,
audios, and that's
nice.
kind of taken from my journaling workshops and my courses and stuff.
So I did read that you do courses and workshops. Can you tell us a little bit about those?
Yeah, sure. So it's funny because I'm kind of like I'm at this fork in the road. I've been running what's called my soul resets, and they
Hmm.
were 30-day experiences of self love and self care practices, with some reading from me, some poetry, some affirmations, journaling prompts, and a self care activity, which we would do every 3 days. And each 3 days, we look at a different principle of self love, so that by the end of the 30 days, we have reset our souls, you know. And I initiated this in 2018. Again, it was about 6 months after having my third child, because in the bubble of motherhood, and it was
Hmm.
beautiful, and it was so restoring and healing and incredible. I still felt that I was very much disconnected from who I was outside of motherhood, and I kind of just needed a way, again, a bridge to reconnect. And I do my best when I again, when I write and I open things up and I share, and I invite people in. So and that's because I'm a recovering people pleaser, you know. Like if I just do something for myself, I get distracted really quite early on. But if I know there's other
Yep.
people there that I have to, you know, look out for, then
Right.
I get something done. So I thought, well, why didn't I do something that's really good for me, but I open it up to everybody else, and then I will complete it, I will fulfill it, because I need a reset. I need to kind of
Right.
just get a grip and reflect and come out of this bubble for a little bit and just kind of carve out some me time, you know. So yes, that's why I started them, and again they grew and they really took off, and I ran them for 5 years, and the last
Wow.
one was actually in November. It was my end of year soul reset. It was it was coming into the 6th year, and now I'm at this point where I'm creating another course. I'm going to
Oh,
release it in the next couple of weeks, but it's to do more with the book, The Power of Mess,
nice.
and just bringing all the streams of my brand together, and the things that I'm really interested in and focused on in my writing. So yeah, it's new. I'm fingers crossed it goes well, but you know, I have that kind of the nerves, you know, which is
Yeah.
only natural. I don't think I want to do anything if I don't get nervous about it, you know, at the initial stages.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're lovely. I really, really enjoy my workshops and my journaling courses, because it's actually the time where I get to see people like this. You know, I
Right.
get to see your
Yeah.
face and I get to hear your voice, rather than just writing in the corner
Hmm.
of my living room and sending out my words into the world. It can
Right.
get quite
Yeah.
lonely and quite boring, to be
Yes.
honest, as well.
Yeah.
Sometimes I just want to
Yeah.
take a break from my own mind, whereas in my courses I get to connect with other like-minded and like-hearted
Right.
women who are just very, very inspiring. And you know, I've made great friends over the past few years as well. I have a very strong community, soul reset community at the moment as well.
Can we find information on that on your Instagram?
You will do. So I haven't released anything because I'm just
Okay.
creating the content at
All
the
right.
moment. But yeah, I'll be releasing it. I'm hoping not next week, but the week after.
Okay.
Yes, around the
I think
21st.
we might have to send Jamie to that.
Yeah, 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 for sure.
Right, Jamie? We can add that to Monday wishes.
Yay, yay, yay.
So we do this wonderful thing in our group on Mondays. We can put things we wish for, and then we gift each other, which is
Oh,
really sweet. And then there's a lot of us who like to anonymous gift, so something will just show up in the mail,
oh,
and we
that's
send happy
lovely.
mail and those kinds of things. And we really, really love that because it brings us up.
That's so
So,
special.
so
It's
maybe
like
we'll
a
have to
secret
do
Santa, but
that.
every Monday.
Sort of, sort of.
Yeah.
And a lot of times we'll tell each other, but every once in a while you'll get something you're like, who sent me this? And you could be having a bad day and it just shows up, and that it's very sweet. We
It's
try really
lovely.
hard to stay positive in our group, which I just love. And Jamie posts something from you daily in our group.
Oh, that's
And
so
I look forward to
nice.
them. Yeah, it's very sweet. So she did ask, and this is putting you on the spot.
Okay.
Can you show us a page of one of the journals?
Oh
I
my
don't know if
God.
you have one there.
Do you know
If you don't,
I
that's
don't have one of my
okay.
journals. I'm out. So
That's
so the one I
okay.
sent to Jamie is my last one.
Oh, see, Jamie?
Yeah, so I'm out of stock now. I'm out of stock with my diaries, with my journals, and my calendars. But what I do have is I have like what I've got to show you. I've got this. It's not a journal, but it's an oracle book, and
Oh, I saw
I
that.
made it for fun. I'm not kind of talented in this way. Like I don't tap into what you need or whatever. But
Right.
I do love the presence of serendipity in our lives, you know, and how just things just kind of magically come together. So
Hmm.
I have this that I could read from or show
That would
you, and
that would be lovely.
I have this as well. This is like my flower book, and it's basically notes to self. For
Mm,
you throughout the whole year as well, so I could read from that, and I
that
have
would
my
be
poetry book
lovely.
as well. Um, but I don't
I
have a
think we would
journal.
love that.
So what would you prefer?
I'm going to let you choose.
Okay. Well, why don't we do? Should we just have some fun? Should we do the Oracle card
I think
book?
that would be fun. So
Okay.
I personally love oracle cards.
Okay, lovely.
So let's see what happens.
Oh goodness, pressure, pressure.
It can't
I'm
be
not an
worse than
oracle.
Facebook technical things. So I don't know. I think you've got some connection with the universe.
Okay. Why doesn't can Jamie choose a number from 1 to 40?
$13.
13. Okay. So the whole thing about serendipity is that sometimes it doesn't happen, all right? So hopefully it will be good, but we've got to keep an open mind and open heart here. All right, hold on. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Is it 13? Not 13.
13.
Okay,
13.
so this is the card. So hold on. No, hold on. Yes, okay. This is the card.
Pretty.
This way. Okay, and it says, choose true freedom. Okay, choose true freedom. Okay. You deserve to feel freedom in your very bones. But freedom and the want to escape are not the same thing. In fact, apart from being in genuine danger, real freedom will often take you in the opposite direction than the longing to escape will. Freedom will whisper in your ear to go face the things you are running away from. That in that you will experience your power and your strength and the truth that you are so much more able than you have ever thought. That is the truth of freedom. You are so much more able than you have ever thought. You have inside you already everything you need or long for. So go walk in the direction of your fears so that you can feel what it is to no longer be controlled by them. The goddess of freedom believes in you.
I love that.
It's kind of like the power of mess, isn't it?
It is. And honestly, like I think that flight or flight, like you run away rather
Right.
than saying, "Hey, you're going to be freer if you just walk towards it."
That's right. Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
Aw, great number, Jamie. I love that you picked 13.
It's a lovely little book. It's really quite
It
fun.
is. I'm going to have to buy that.
Thank you.
Especially, I like the pick a number. I like that a lot. Okay. So Jamie wants to know, can you tell her the title of the Oracle book?
Sure. So it's called She Soul Food Oracles. So She Soul Food Oracles. And that's on my Etsy shop. I have about 6 more of them at the moment. I got a new batch done recently.
Wait, there's 8 people on this live. I'm going to kick them out.
Yes.
Can I shop if there's only 6? Hold on.
I can get some more made, don't worry.
I'm just kidding, everybody. I love you. Oh, I love it. Too much fun. Okay, I lost her. There we go. I'll take that off. Jamie said that was very special.
Oh,
She's beyond thrilled.
I'm so glad.
Yeah.
So glad.
So, anybody else have any other questions? It's super late in the UK, so I want to respect your sleep, Samantha.
Oh, bless you. I mean, you know what? I've had coffee and Coke. I'm not going to sleep for a while now.
Jamie asked if you could read a little from the other book as well.
Sure. Which one? So the poetry book or the flower book or the Power of Mess? Which one? Notes to Soul or?
Let's see what she says. Power of Mess.
Okay, the power of mess. Okay, do you know, I found something. Again, it's quite in line with the oracle card, but I could read this to you. Do you know, with the power of mess, like because it's such an experience, I never know what to share from it, you know, because I don't want to, I like to surprise my readers, whenever I make my calendars or my journals or, my diaries. Like I only show a little bit because I want I want the customer to be surprised when they open up and it's all new and fresh. So I never know what to pick for the power of mess. But this just came up. I thought, because you guys are a book club, I have this chapter called Embrace Your Inner Storyteller. So I thought I would read from that. Okay. All right. All right, so bear with me because it's 2 pages long. Yeah, okay. All right. It says, or I say, it says, I write, I can guarantee that you are already telling yourself a story about the messy parts of your life. Maybe you have told yourself that you are not worthy of anything better than the cards you have been dealt with so far, or that you should stop hoping for things to get better because they never will. Maybe you have decided that you will never be qualified enough to get a promotion, or that all relationships are toxic and you will do much better being on your own from now on. Maybe deep down you feel like you are really an awful person and everything is always your fault. The point is, the stories we tell ourselves have a colossal impact on how we encounter each day. They create the framework for what we notice of our experiences and what we take from them. In the words of Michael Margolis, the stories we tell literally make the world. If you want to change the world, you need to change your story. This truth applies both to individuals and institutions. So, for now, let us continue in this vein and imagine your life as the wider landscape in which the great mess has its territory. Yes, your life is bigger than the great mess. You can soar higher than its most elevated reach, and your roots go deeper. Let us also envisage that the story of your life is not just any story, but it is a heroic one at that. And it is full of epic promise, in gentle parallel to Joseph Campbell's notable contribution to understanding the framework of the hero's quest in mythological tales in his book, The Hero with 1,000 Faces. This is a wonderful parallel, the one of adventure and challenge, the one that catapults the protagonist into unknown territory and forces him to face and consequently be transformed by unexpected disaster. A wonderful parallel indeed. And if you like the thought of dealing with ogres and dragons and otherworldly elements along your journey, feel free to modernize these details. For example, the dragons of our day can be raging anxieties and stress levels, childhood trauma, inner demons, the longing to heal but not knowing where to start, pandemics, social media sensationalism, culture wars and real ones, nuclear threat, unpredictable inflation rates and fuel hikes. There's a lot of material you can work with that fits the bill. But you, the valiant hero, waking to your innate courage a little more every day, will come through this superlative adventure we call life. Riding on the seas of love and loss and everything in between. You will experience the many twists and turns life is shaped with in your own specific narrative arc. You will make friends with the most unlikely forms and beings and in the most unexpected places, joyfully surprising yourself as you do. You will learn how to make portholes out of potholes. You will get used to stepping up to any challenge rather than backing down because of self-doubt. You will learn to stop yourself from overindulging in the flower fields of bliss so that you can preserve your balance and nurture your other senses. You will grasp more and more that a certain level of struggle is required to create meaningful encounters. The experience of life will break your heart, but you will use it to break you open, and you will mend countless times. It will astonish you again and again, not just for its direct beauty and wonder, but because even beneath the harshest of seas, there are still beautiful worlds that are waiting to be discovered. And all of this is possible because you learned to stop running away from the great mess and embraced your role as hero. Imagine what life would look like if you borrowed the above suggestion as the new framework for the story of your existence and the context for all the hard things you are going through. Imagine if that was what you told yourself every day. Imagine how your heart might open. Imagine how ready your heart would be to embrace the joyful moments as they come up on the way through the journey. It is a reconceptualization of your experiences. It's a statement of faith in who you are, and it is heroic. But what's even more heroic is actually considering that this could become the concrete details of your very life. Sorry, that was a bit long, but
Oh, it was wonderful. I think we all could listen to you read all night.
thank you.
That was wonderful. Thank you so much.
So welcome.
Well, I just want to thank you so much for coming on with us. And I have a feeling that all of us will have this on our Wednesday Amazon wishes.
Oh, thank you.
Because it is wonderful. Thank you again. Jamie said it was mesmerizing.
Oh,
I agree, Jamie. It was lovely.
thanks, Jamie.
Yes. Well, it was absolutely wonderful meeting you. And thank you so much for drinking coffee and Coca-Cola to stay up with us.
No problem at all.
Yes,
It was
it was
great, Kristen. Thanks so
lovely.
much for having me.
Thank you. All right. Thank you, everybody.
Thanks,
Have a
everyone. Thanks for
have
listening.
have a great weekend. Jamie said, "I'm so glad to meet you."
Oh, bless you, Jamie. Mwah. Sending you so much love, and I hope you love your journal. You can let me know, or you can show me the things you write on it as well. I'm always there for that.
All right. Thank you. Have a wonderful weekend.
Okay, thank you, Kristen. Okay.
Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.